Well, thank you everybody for joining us today on another edition of Extreme Health Radio. Really appreciate you joining us. We have another edition. This is Wednesday, December 12th, 2012. We are broadcasting worldwide from Southern California. We're doing shows currently 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you want to join us on Facebook, you can at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook and join the community there. This is episode number 47. So you could find this show at extremehealthradio.com/47, and you'll be able to find the show notes and the transcription eventually and any books that the guest mentions on that show page. So refer to that. And if you have any questions for me, you can always email me, Justin, at extremehealthradio.com, or you could call our voicemail line, which is 949-391-7363, and I will play your message to our guest on the air. And this show is brought to you by Yoga Body Naturals. Lucas Rockwood, he was on episode number 10, and he's got a great yoga course you can check out at extremehealthradio.com/yoga. And today we have David Christopher on the line. David Christopher, he is interesting man. He's a master herbalist, and he runs the School of Natural Healing, and he's been doing so since 1974, I believe. And the school was set up in 1953, if I'm correct, by his father, John Christopher. And he's a master herbalist, he's a lecturer, and he goes around the world lecturing and teaching herbal principles. So thank you so much for being on the show, David. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad to do this.
Oh, great. So you officially took over, was it 1974? Was that right?
I took over the herb, but did the school in 1979.
In 1979, okay. So you had been obviously growing up in this kind of herbal household for your whole life.
Yes, I have.
Wow. So when you were a kid and you scraped your knee and you had little issues like that, did your dad always use herbal remedies on you, I'm sure?
Oh, sure. And I never saw a doctor till I was in college.
Really? Did you get vaccinated and do all of that as well, or was that not?
Absolutely not.
Oh, wow. So not one. Have you ever had a shot?
No. Well, okay. Absolutely. I no vaccines. And then when I was 19, almost 20, I decided to be a missionary, and I couldn't go on this mission for our church without vaccinations. And so at that time, I did get them, unfortunately.
Wow. Did you notice anything adverse happening, or as a result?
Oh yeah,
of this
I've had some definite skin problems and things around the area where I was vaccinated, and then it has kind of spread. So yeah, I can notice things that have happened since then.
Wow, what a blessing to grow up in a house like that where you don't go to the doctor and get shots, and gosh, that's just so great, isn't it? And
we were all born at home, and all my children have been born at home.
Wow.
I shouldn't say all of them. My first one wasn't. That's because my wife had no idea what the health and movement was all about. She was, and she kind of converted over.
Oh, really? So when you first met her, she wasn't kind of living this way?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a bowl of ice cream and Bosco before going to bed every night.
That's funny you say that, because I remember my wife, when she used to joke when we were dating, she would always say that, ice cream is good for you because it has milk in it, calcium, same kind of thing. Wow. So now your father, John Christopher, established the School of Natural Healing, and was he vaccinated as a child, or how early in his life did he get started?
Probably because he was, I think in his 20s when he just, maybe late teens, when he just couldn't get help from doctors, and so he started studying up on everything and learned it himself, and got himself over the problems. Wow.
So what kind of problems did he have?
Oh, well, if you don't want to gross out the audience, he was just the most constipated boy in Salt Lake.
Oh, really?
And you go to the doctor, and the doctor goes, when's the last time you went? And he says, last week. And he goes, you'll go. Don't worry.
Wow. Oh, you'll go. Don't worry.
He knew that wasn't right, and so from that, he had a lot of other illnesses involved, and basically cleansing the system out solves most of his problems.
It's amazing. I have people that I know in my life that that's the situation for them, where they, go once a week or twice a week or once every 2 weeks. It seems like that's more common. I mean, I'm not used to that, but it seems like that's more common than we realize, isn't it?
I can't hardly imagine that. If I go a day, it's like, are you kidding? That hurts,
Uh-huh.
It's really interesting. We ran into this one gal, and she had all kinds of health problems, and we're going, are you regular? And she goes, yeah, I'm regular, and we find these other problems with her, and she goes, are you regular? And she goes, yeah, I'm regular. Anyway, she finally got ticked off with the whole thing. She goes, of course I'm regular. I every time I have a period, I go.
Oh, wow.
But she was having it like once a month. Yeah.
I feel like I would die if that happened.
Really? Yeah. Like I said, I go a day, and it's like, are you kidding? I got to go.
Speaking of all of this, how often should people go, do you think?
If you eat 3 times a day, you should go 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean,
only go twice a day and you eat 3 times a day, then you're 7 behind for the week.
What if you do, like I do, smoothies and juices, and, sometimes I might have some, piece of meat or something, but, sometimes I don't have really 2 solid meals a day. Should I still be going for every, I guess, smoothie that I do, or is it?
Actually, if you're doing that, you should probably even be going more. That tends to make your bowels a lot looser.
Wow, because I, go about twice a day, but wow, geez.
Then keep up with the smoothies and stuff, and you'll eventually get to where you need to go.
Wow, so that is so great. So your mother then must have been on the bandwagon with your father, John Christopher, in order to have a child at home and not vaccinate, because those are 2 pretty big things for women to do or not do.
She wasn't into it either. It was a learning curve for her.
Oh, that's right. You said your wife wasn't. Yeah, okay, and then your mother. So
she also wasn't to start with, but, so it was just like the all first-generation thing. I've got a teacher at my school. He's like 4th generation.
Oh, really?
That goes way back.
Wow.
He teaches at the University of California, Davis. With
someone like him and his genes and how strong his genes are, do you think that, because I know a lot of things can be reversed in 1 generation, health crises and health issues. Having 4 generations, do you think that his genes are relatively stronger than most people, his genetics?
I believe, yes, I think he is. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I bet he never gets sick, does he?
Well, we all get sick, and that's really funny because, people go, how come you're sick? You're an herbalist.
I know.
People... Like, you got great faith in herbalists,
Yeah.
But yeah, we all get sick, but it's how we get over it that's the thing, and that's the whole thing. Is if you come down with something, and you get over it, then you're not going to get it next time. Except for colds, because they're always, that virus is always changing. So it's always a different one.
Wow. So do you get sick once a year or once every couple of years, kind of thing?
Sick. I don't know when the last time I got sick was. Clogged up. I can tell when I'm clogged up, and I do therapies to get myself unclogged. And a lot of people wouldn't call that sick, I do, but
right.
It depends on your definition. But, down in bed sick, I can't remember the last time I did that.
It's interesting. We had a guy on, Dr. Charles Partito. He owns the Ejuva Cleanse, and he was talking about how, a lot of times people think that if they don't get sick, they're healthier. And I guess that would be the kind of logical conclusion that you would get from, eating health food and all that. But he was arguing that people that don't get sick are actually blocking their body's ability to get stronger from overcoming the sickness. And that's why he wrote a whole thing about how cancer patients never catch a cold, and they always seem to be pretty healthy and they don't catch cold, and then all of a sudden they have cancer. Do you think there's anything to what he's saying there?
Well, yes and no. Another thing we have to look at is body types. And if you know anything about iridology, you're able to see what type of person, what your body type is. And those that have a really tight weave in their iris, they don't seem to get sick. The ones that have a looser weave, and you see more markings and stretching out of those fibers, they tend to get sick a lot. So I think it has to do also with your body constitution. So your iris is the colored part of your eye outside the pupil before the white area, is that right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you said that, I know because people are going to go look at their eyes after this. So you said a tight, what did you say inside? Tight fiber, so that, you look at your eye and it's pretty clear. A lot of times you look at your eye and it looks like, there's little patterns in there,
Mm-hmm.
And the more patterns, the more conditions you may have or be subject to. But those types of people tend to get sick easier.
Wow, that's interesting. Interesting correlation.
But again, the ones with the tie-dye fiber, like you were saying, if they don't ever get sick, pretty soon it's like you're not sick, and bam, well, you got a crisis and may take you out.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So do you think that the iridology is a correlation or a causative thing?
No, I think iridology is just a reflection of what's going on in your body.
Okay.
It's just kind of like your blueprint. Scandinavians tend to have real tight fibered eyes.
Really?
And I think that's one of the reasons they do a lot of, the sweat baths and the ice plunges and stuff to get the things going so that they can cleanse out.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So what do you think people should do if they, because this is kind of during the flu season right now, and if someone gets a flu or a cold, what are some things that you recommend to get over that?
Well, you stop eating.
Mm.
What we do is go on a liquid diet. And what we don't want to do is fresh fruit juices is your best bet for dealing with the flu.
Fresh fruit juices. I just was drinking my...
I like grapefruit myself.
Really? So the sugar is not too much?
Well, what we have to realize is there's only 3 foods we consume. We consume carbohydrates, we consume fats, and we consume proteins. So it's not so much that it's sugar, it's how it's processed. Now, for example, you could eat fresh apples every day of your life and you just have good, strong, healthy teeth. You eat dried apples every day of your life and you rot your teeth out.
Oh, right.
And all you did was dried them,
Interesting.
So what you did was you concentrated those sugars, and then you inactivated the enzymes, because enzymes have to work in a watery environment. So the enzymes are there, but they're inactivated. So when you chew that fruit, it gets stuck between your teeth. The enzymes can't break it down, so bacteria has to come in and break it down, and then that also breaks down your enamel.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you recommend some fruit juices and to stop...
Fresh, not bottled, canned, or anything like that. It's fresh.
Oh, right. And what kind of juices, what kind of fruits do you recommend if someone's got the flu or a cold?
Well, like I said, citrus is really your best bet.
Okay.
The berries are good too. So I'd look at juicing up some berries also.
And you're talking about putting those through a juicer, not in a blender, right?
Actually, as far as the berries are concerned, I just go ahead and eat berries. I don't even eat juice those. You just eat them. Yeah. So blueberries are one of your best bets for dealing with those types of infections.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people maybe overeat when they get sick. They may just eat bread and, I don't know.
No, yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah. Kiwi would be another good one.
Is that because of the vitamin C that it's got, or the potassium or something?
Yeah, all those things, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's really high.
But they're just instant nutrients for us, and we're lacking in nutrients when we get sick. If you have a good, strong, healthy body and your immune system's up and active, if you do get sick, you'll get over it real quick.
Yeah, because a lot of people just linger on with flus that last for 3 weeks kind of thing, and I could understand if they're sitting around eating really heavy foods. It's interesting you say to not eat. I guess that gives your digestive or your body a chance to kind of attack the cold.
Yeah, cleanse out, yes. In fact, that's one of the things we'll do to cleanse is to do nothing but juices for 3 days. Even if you're healthy, you go on like fresh apple juice for 3 days, and that really cleanses out the system.
Wow, like a 3-day cleanse. How much juice do you do each day on those?
Well, you would do a glass of juice every hour.
Oh, wow.
Like an 8-ounce glass every hour, yeah.
Wow, so an 8-ounce glass every hour, that's a lot of juice.
Yeah, and see, the thing is we're using that not only for the nutrients, but we're using it as a medium to flush the system. If you just try to go on a fast and just go without food and water, just fast, yeah, your body's going to cleanse so fast, but there's no place to go. You haven't got any medium to take it out. And so people that do extended fasts can get really, really sick because they're releasing all these toxins, and the body's got no way to get them out of the system. So you just kind of get yourself sick for no reason. Whereas with the juice cleanse, you're providing the medium to flush it out of your system.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. We're with David Christopher, and he's the director of the School of Natural Healing. We have to take a short break right now, but his website is snh.cc. That's School of Natural Healing, so it's snh.cc to find out more about his program. We're with David Christopher, and we'll be back after this break. I do a lot of weightlifting and lifting heavy weights at the gym, and I love it, but there's also another side to working out, which actually helps you increase the energy in your body. As you know, in our culture, just about everything is a stress to our body. It depletes us of life force energy and our energy in general, whether it's, coworkers or getting to work or dealing with difficult family members, things like that. All of these things cause stress and energy depletion in our body. And something like Qigong is a really great way to help cultivate your inner energy. And it's been practiced by people in the East for thousands of years. It's put together by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar. You can find it at extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, which is Qigong, and it's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. And I highly recommend getting this product. It comes as a physical product to your house with really great DVDs and workbooks on how to do this ancient art of cultivating your inner energy and building that core energy of your body. And it's been practiced, like I said, for thousands of years. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If nothing else, just go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, Qigong, and get on their mailing list because they'll send you lots of free information as well. So check out Peter Ragnar. He looks amazing for how old he is. He's been doing this for like 60 years or something. It's really an amazing product. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. Okay, we are with David Christopher, the director of the School of Natural Healing, and that is snh.cc. And David, before the break, we were talking a little bit about cleansing. And are there any other types of cleanses? There's tons of different cleanses out there. Do you recommend any in particular, and if so, why?
Well, besides the juice cleanse, and we always use apple juice in our area, but down in your area, I would use a combination of grapefruit, orange, and lemon, and then dilute it half and half with distilled water. And that makes an excellent cleanse. Okay. But as far as an herbal cleanse is concerned, really there's nothing better than Dr. Christopher's Total Body Cleanse. And what that does is it focuses in on cleansing the bowel with his lower bowel formula, and then improving the condition of the liver with his liver formula, and then getting the kidneys functioning really well with his kidney formula. So by getting the eliminative organs working, then we can take his bloodstream formula, which cleanses right down to the cellular level. And so we would do the first three formulas for like 2 weeks, and then on the third week we would add the bloodstream formula for another 4 weeks, and so 6 weeks of total body cleanse, and that does a really good job.
Wow, so it would be a 6-week cleanse total. And then can people get those at drchristopher.com? Is that a website that you are connected with in any way? Or?
Yeah, they can get there. Mm-hmm, sure.
Okay, and on that website, it's drchristopher.com. They'll be able to find all those products, is that right?
Yeah, in fact, and let me give you another website, ChristopherWebsites.com. And that's got a list of like all the Dr. Christopher websites. It's got school, the Christopher publications. It has my radio show, Healthier You. It has our newsletter, which is Herbal Legacy. And so it's got all our websites on just ChristopherWebsites.com.
Oh, great. Okay, and that's websites plural.
Dr. Christopher's Herb Shop. Very convenient way to buy the herbs if you wanted them.
Okay, so it's ChristopherWebsites.com. Excellent.
That's right.
Okay, so this total body cleanse, how often do you think people should do that?
Oh, it'd be good to do it at least quarterly.
Okay. And it's
once a month would be, but quarterly is good.
Quarterly is good, and it lasts about 6 weeks. And do you have to change your diet in any way on that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about the juice cleanse to do quarterly.
Oh, okay.
Or every month. But the extended herbal cleanse, that would just be as you need it. If you feel like you need to be cleansed out, then I'd go on a 6-week program. But it'd be good to do that once a year.
Okay. Well, that sounds excellent. Now, I imagine that would be something good for people to do before they get pregnant or something like that. Oh,
absolutely. That's the problem with a lot of pregnancies we're seeing today, and they're cut off short and everything with miscarriages and such. I think women just aren't prepared physically to carry that baby, and so cleanse their system out and get all the nutrients needed, and especially all the folic acid that you get in the green leafy vegetables. Just eating the right way for 6 weeks prior to even thinking about getting pregnant, I think is a really, really, really good idea.
Yeah, because imagine if everyone did that. I mean, the autism rates are sky high, and that could be other issues, but I mean, if people had the foresight to do some cleansing before they got pregnant and then ate correctly and then took the necessary steps after that, I would imagine that a lot of the autism might not be as prevalent as it is. Yeah,
and you wouldn't see all the C-sections and a lot of other things that just aren't normal. Now it's become normal. I mean, some areas it's up to 30-50% C-section rate.
That's amazing. And I think once you get a C-section, you have to, or at least they tell you that you should have your next children that way as well.
Oh, yeah. They're always saying, well, once you have a C-section, you always have to have a C-section. And the midwives are always saying VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean, because they can do it. If you get on the right program, even after a cesarean, you can still have a child naturally if you go the right route.
Right, I've heard that. If you do the same
thing you're doing before, it's not going to work. You're going to have to do the C-section.
So cleansing before you're pregnant, how long do you think you should wait after you finish the cleanse before you start trying to get pregnant?
I would just go ahead and immediately.
Okay. So the cleanse, the whole body cleanse that includes the lower bowel formula and all of that from John Christopher, does that require you to do a certain diet for those 6 weeks, or how does that work?
Yeah, and in fact, he has a little booklet out called Dr. Christopher's 3-Day Cleanse and Mucusless Diet, so it explains the whole thing in there. It's only like about $3, real inexpensive. But that's got all the information in there, and that tells you how to do it in the proper diet.
Wow. So he was just a master herbal formulator, wasn't he?
He was. His formulas have stood at the time, and 1945 is when his first one came out, and he was developing formulas through the 70s. And they last because people use them and they work. It's really interesting that herbs work, but there's a reason for putting them together a certain way. If you really don't know how to put them together, then you should just take single herbs. But there's companies putting out formulas that don't do anything. They really don't work.
Is that because of the combination of herbs don't have a synergy?
Yeah, they just there was no rhyme or reason for their formula, and they don't really seem to work.
Wow, because I was looking at some of your products last night, and it looks like they have, a handful of ingredients, but I would imagine each one is meticulously scrutinized before it goes into the formula for a specific reason, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of thought into doing a formula. In fact, one of our formulas that only has 2 herbs. In fact, we've got a number of formulas that just have 2 herbs. We have our glandular formula. It's just mullein and lobelia. It's 3 parts mullein, 1 part lobelia. Any glandular problem it works fantastic for. We have our false unicorn and lobelia, which is 3 parts false unicorn, 1 part lobelia. That's the one that stops miscarriages. And then we have a formula that's just astragalus and marshmallow.
Wow.
And here, let me give you some of the reasoning behind this formula. Now, the reason the formula was put together was because of all these autoimmune diseases out there. And so we looked at the situation, and it's like, okay, we looked at all these herbs, and we knew we wanted to use marshmallow because it's an anti-inflammatory, and it really calms things down. We knew we wanted to use that one, but we looked at all these herbs for the immune system, and we focused in on astragalus. Now, astragalus isn't really a strong stimulant of the immune system, but it's a real builder of the immune system. Okay. So it strengthens the immune system, and that's the last thing you think you want in an autoimmune disease. But by combining the marshmallow and the astragalus together, then we get an action different than both the marshmallow and the astragalus, and those two combined calm the immune system without compromising it. So you still have an immune system that will fight infections, but you have an immune system that won't fight you, that won't destroy your own cells.
Wow.
It's an amazing formula, and it's only got 2 herbs in it.
That's amazing. I always wonder with these kind of herbs and these combinations like this, how do they measure or how do they know what reaction it's having to the immune system inside the body? How do they know that they do those things, I should say?
I guess the proof's in the pudding. So you stop having the symptoms from the autoimmune disease. So one of the ways you can tell is in an autoimmune disease, the body will develop antibodies against your cells.
Uh-huh.
Probably the best example, I had this guy in the Air Force that had got a vasectomy, and the sperm has to go someplace, and so it just goes into your cell structure, or other tissues, and it's not supposed to be there, and so he got antibodies against his own sperm.
Wow.
So he became allergic to, or had an autoimmune disease against his own sperm. And so he got the vasectomy reversed, but it still was there. And so then he gives me a call, and we told him about the diet and everything, and then about this particular formula. He went on the formula for a year, and went back to his doctors after the year, and those antibodies aren't there anymore. So he's over that particular thing. Now, another case we had with alopecia, where the immune system attacks the follicles of your hair.
Mm-hmm.
That person, of course, lost their hair, and we used these herbs, and they regained that hair, and it never came back. So we figured the proof was in the pudding.
Wow. Did that person with alopecia go with alopecia for many years, and so he was completely bald, or did it?
Yes.
Did it? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, at any rate, the alopecia can come and go, and that's what happened with him. It was coming and going, and he was losing all his hair, and he'd just come out, and he'd just put his hands through his hair, and just all come out. So, at any rate, so when he did this, then it all came back and didn't leave again.
Wow.
And so, like I said, the proof's in the pudding as far as these autoimmune diseases is concerned. Probably one of the best example we had is of asthma. All the symptoms you have asthma,
mm-hmm.
well, those all go away. Asthma is an autoimmune disease. And so by calming the immune system, and then we also use Dr. Christopher's lung and bronchial formula to help repair and strengthen the lungs. And we get them over asthma.
Wow. Do you guys have formulas for different body parts? Like you were just talking about the lung formula. Do you have formulas for, particular body parts? People can go on your website and buy those?
Yeah, just about everything. Yeah.
That's really cool to have formulas for specific organs as well as specific conditions, because someone may have a condition that covers many organs, or someone may just have a problem with their liver, say, or something.
Right. And, and there's certain things like glands that we have formulas for glands, but not necessarily for each particular gland.
Oh, I see.
But we do have them for, like the adrenal glands, and we have them for the thyroid, and we have them for the pituitary. But, there are a lot of glands, and so we don't have them for everything. It's like I've had a number of calls of guys that get these swollen testicles,
mm-hmm.
and water retention down there, and we use that glandular formula, the mullinelobelia, and that works really well.
And you guys take a vitalistic approach, right? And explain what that is, the vitalistic approach to this.
Well, it's almost just directly opposite of the rest of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
You have your allopathic approach, and you have your vitalistic approach. The vitalistic approach, what we do, it was Hippocrates that came up with the theory. I'm clear back there. What he stated was that the body has an ability to move towards wellness. In fact, it has a direction to move towards wellness. That everything the body does is trying to get well. And so we as natural practitioners look at what the body's trying to do and help it in its course towards wellness.
Okay.
Now, back at the same time, Democritus said, come on, Hippocrates, that's just like religion. You can't see it, you can't prove it, so it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Democritus said what exists is matter, and we're all made up of simple matter, and you just have to treat it with other matter to change its course. And so basically, the two forms of medicine split at that time. And the allopaths basically follow Democritus, that we see there's something wrong with the body, and we change it.
Mm-hmm.
Where the vitalists are going, no, we just help the body. So probably the best thing is with a fever. Now, the allopaths, they just give you a drug and stop the fever.
Okay.
Whereas the vitalists say, the body's trying to be hot, and so it must be for a purpose, so we put them in a tub of hot water and give them a lot of hot yarrow tea to drink to help them perspire so we can get rid of whatever's the problem. And perspiration also helps the body keep the temperature it needs to be. And so we work through the fever that way, and they get over the illness. If you stop the fever, well, why is there a fever? Well, there's a fever because there's something in your body the body needs to get rid of, and so it gives a environment, a heat that particular invader can't multiply. And so that's why you have different temperatures of fevers, is because you have different invaders, and that particular invader needs that particular temperature to stop it from propagating. But at the same time, a higher temperature kicks your immune system into gear.
Right.
So if you take something to stop a fever, you basically shut off your immune system. So it's like inviting the invader to propagate.
All of this is happening kind of behind the scenes and people don't know, but then they get rid of the symptom and so they feel better. But I guess like the doctor I mentioned before, Dr. Partito, was saying that you're preventing really your body from going through that and becoming stronger as a result. Exactly.
You need to let your body work. And so what will happen is then they'll get something else, and then they'll give them an antibiotic to kill whatever is in there, which causes all kinds of problems in your system. Probably the most prevalent one today that I have a lot of calls about is Candida. So they get this yeast overgrowth, because what happens is you take an antibiotic, it doesn't only wipe out the bacteria, the living organism thereafter, it also wipes out all of your friendly flora. And, you know, in your intestinal tract, you have billions of friendly flora that help you to break down and transport nutrients into your system. In fact, there's 200 different variety of friendly flora in your intestinal tract. Those antibiotics wipe them all out, all 200 of them. And then the medical profession, after 20 or 30 years, finally agreed that maybe these antibiotics, you know, are causing a problem. You need to put some flora back in. So they say acidophilus. That's one of the 200 that you just lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and some of those can be lost forever, right?
Yeah, and so instead of antibiotics, we use garlic. And garlic is nature's perfect antibiotic, and it's strong. I mean, they had a cholera outbreak in India where they used the strongest antibiotic, and it didn't work. So they went back to garlic, and that took care of the problem.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
What we do is about 16 cloves of fresh garlic a day when you have an active infection.
16. Now, clove is not the same as a bulb. A clove is one of the bulbs, right?
Yeah, clove is a section of the bulb.
A section of the bulb. And you said 16.
So 16 of those a day would be a minimum. You can take more, but at least 16 a day.
Whoa. How do you eat that?
I find a really good way is to put it in onion soup. What you do is you make up a real nice onion soup with vegetable stock instead of beef stock. Okay. And then with the onion soup, when it's down to the temperature you're going to eat it, then you take the 16 cloves of garlic and you press it through a garlic press and let it sit on a plate for 5-10 minutes. And then you put it into the soup when it's down to the temperature you're going to eat it. Then you don't cook it. Then you don't destroy the properties of it. And then that's a good way of getting garlic down. Another way, if you can't stand the taste of garlic and onions, is you get a head of cauliflower, take the whole head and cook it in enough water to get it soft, put it in a blender, blend it up, and when it's down to the temperature you want it, you put that garlic into there, and then you eat that. That kind of becomes like a mashed potato kind of substance? It's more like a soup. Like a soup, okay. And it ameliorates the sharpness of the garlic, but you still have the property there. And you still got a nice taste of the garlic. So it's a cauliflower garlic soup that works really nicely together. Wow. For like strep throat, here's what we do. We take a tablespoon of honey, and we mix a quarter teaspoon of cayenne pepper into that tablespoon of honey. And then we take 4 cloves of garlic, and we do the same thing. We press it and let it sit for 5-10 minutes. That gets all the chemicals activated. A new sulfur compound is created called allicin. And it's tied to the smell and the freshness of the garlic. But anyway, that then is put in to the honey and cayenne, and those are the proportions. You might need more. But anyway, we take like a half a teaspoon every hour, and you don't wash it down with anything. You just put that in your mouth, swish it around, swallow it, and let it coat the throat. The honey sticks to the throat and sticks the cayenne to the area where the bacteria is. And the cayenne, as a rubefacient, brings blood into the area, brings your immune system into play. And then the garlic, of course, is antibiotic, and we can usually get rid of strep throat within 24 hours. Oh, my gosh. And how often would you do a little dollop of that? Every hour kind of thing? Every hour. Wow. And that's honey, cayenne, and garlic, all fresh. Yeah. The only time I didn't see that work, I had a neighbor that asked, what to do for strep, and so I told him, and called them back later, and they said, no, it didn't work. We took him to the doctor and got the antibiotics. And I'm going, so how much did you take? She goes, well, the kids took one. They took it once, and it's too hot for them, so they took some milk to, get rid of the heat. Well, that milk totally negated the cayenne and the garlic and everything else. You know?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, you can't fix it one shot.
Milk is a carrier for strep, especially pasteurized milk. Any milk will carry strep, but it seems to get into pasteurized milk even more.
Wow, that's amazing. We're with David Christopher, having a great time, the director of the School of Natural Healing, and his website is snh.cc. Make it easy, School of Natural Healing, snh.cc, and we're having a great time talking about all kinds of herbal things. We'll be right back after this break. Hey guys, if you've been following our work for any length of time, you know that I'm a big fan of raw food. I did a raw food diet actually from 2003 to 2010, 100%, and I loved it. And raw food is a huge part of my diet, and I just love it. And if you're interested in making healthy, really amazing raw food dishes without spending hours and hours in the kitchen, I would highly recommend checking out a program put together by Russell James called the Raw Chef Program. You can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/raw chef. And I have to say, it's absolutely incredible. I have it, and it's got hundreds of hours of video, professionally done video, along with workbooks and PDF files. And he walks you through how to make the most amazing, delicious raw food meals that don't take forever. Everything from mock pizzas and pasta to ice cream to cheese to fluffy bread, if you can imagine it. It's incredible. So I highly recommend you checking it out. It's you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/raw chef. And I think you are absolutely going to love this program. So check it out now. All right, we're having a good time with David Christopher, director of the School of Natural Healing. And David, I want to go back a little bit to something that you said. We were talking about the vitalistic approach, and you gave an example of applying it to, a fever. Can the vitalistic approach work on other issues, like bigger issues like cancer or heart disease? Like, how would the vitalistic approach work with those other types of situations?
Well, I think as far as cardiovascular disease is concerned, the reason that it's the number one killer in the United States is because allopaths are treating it. Everything they do is counterproductive.
So that would go ahead. No, that would mean that a lot of the drugs that they're given for cholesterol lowering medication and all of that, those are all having adverse side effects, I guess. Oh,
all of them. In fact, cholesterol. Let's talk a little bit about the cholesterol.
Okay.
Most of the cholesterol that's in your system doesn't come from your diet. It comes from your liver. Your liver makes cholesterol. So I guess we'd have to say, well, why does the liver make cholesterol? Well, cholesterol is made to repair your cells. Cholesterol is made to make vitamin D. Cholesterol is made to help break down fats. That cholesterol has good uses. That's why animals make it. All animals make cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And so our bodies are designed so that there's a feedback system. So if there's too much cholesterol, then the body will stop making it. Now, we look at the situation and we find that we have these elevated levels of cholesterol, and the liver's still kicking out more cholesterol. Well, why is that? Well, the reason I look at that as the case is because, like I said, cholesterol is used for things. Now, if cholesterol's been damaged, then it can't be used to repair cells. It can't be used to make vitamin D, or to help break down fats, utilize fats better. So if the liver's still making cholesterol when you've got high cholesterol levels, that would indicate that most of the cholesterol that's in your system has been damaged and is unusable. And what we find damages the cholesterol the most is a highly processed grain diet and heavy meat consumption. The thing that damages cholesterol the most is charbroiled meat, because it's got all this free radical oxygen in it. Same thing with highly processed grains. A lot of free radical oxygen. This free radical oxygen then attaches to cholesterol and makes it unusable. So it makes it small, hard, and unusable. Now, what the liver puts out is large, soft, fluffy cholesterol, and that's what's used by the body to repair cells. And so basically what's happening when you're taking a statin, like Lipitor, is you're shutting the liver off from being able to make cholesterol. So you're interfering with the enzyme process, and now the liver can't make cholesterol. So now all you've got is damaged cholesterol, and so now you can't repair your cells. So if you want to die of heart disease, take a statin.
Whoa.
Is that clear enough?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I've never heard the distinction like you just made of the two types of cholesterol. And cholesterol is also important for hormones and all of that too, right?
Oh, yeah. So if you have a woman that's got hormonal problems, she's not making enough estrogen, yeah, take away her cholesterol. Now she can't make hormones. Yeah, there's a lot of things cholesterol is used for, and yeah, hormonal too. It's like, wow, what is going on here? Now, as far as high blood pressure is concerned, if you want to die of heart disease, take a high blood pressure medication. Because here's what's happening. All the cells in your body work the way they're supposed to work. There's billions, trillions of cells. And they all perform the way they're supposed to perform if they get the oxygen and nutrients they need. Mm-hmm. Then they're going to perform the way they're supposed to. If they don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need, then they can't perform right, and then they start to atrophy. Now, when that happens, these cells send out a distress signal that they're not getting the oxygen and nutrients they need. The central nervous system picks up on that distress signal and sends the signal to the circulatory system to raise blood pressure, to force blood out to those cells to save them from dying. So, when you take a high blood pressure medication that artificially lowers your blood pressure, basically you're denying nutrients getting out to those cells and they die. So if you want your heart to stop, yeah, take high blood pressure medication.
Wow, and that's just the opposite of what their doctors are telling them to take the medication for.
That's exactly right. We're talking about a vitalistic approach here compared to a atomistic approach or allopathic approach. Yeah.
You know what is interesting to me? If you think about the cholesterol issue and how the cholesterol is related to hormones, you start to see a cycle or a circle that's happening with especially men taking these things, and then they all of a sudden, as a result, they can't make hormones, so they have to take something like Viagra, and that puts them on a second drug. What do you think's going on with this cycle that's happening here?
Well, I think what's going on is the drug companies are making a lot of money.
Oh, man. Wow.
At our expense. They don't make us healthier. They just control levels, and then we think that we're doing really good because, our blood pressure's down. I'm not saying high blood pressure is a good thing. I'm saying that there's a more natural way to bring blood pressure down, and that is to deliver oxygen and nutrients to the cells so the body doesn't have to force it out there.
What do you think a good, healthy cholesterol level would be?
Well, they can look at averages is exactly what they do, but that all depends on the individual, and I think different people have different cholesterol levels for different reasons.
Yeah, I guess you would make more cholesterol as you need it, maybe in times of stress or something, or
in times of a lack of hormones, or exactly.
Wow, the cholesterol issue is so huge because I wonder how many people, as far as just American adults, are on cholesterol. What do you think it is?
Well, that was a marketing campaign.
No, I'm just wondering.
So the statins aren't that new, and so when they came out, it was a marketing campaign, and now they're all giving them these statins when they really can't even prove that they work. Well, all they can prove is that they lower cholesterol, and the only reason they lower cholesterol is because you're stopping any usable cholesterol from coming in the system.
Yeah, I've heard a while back that I think your cholesterol level needs to be at least, I think, a total cholesterol of 180, I think, just to make hormones. And these doctors...
Your cholesterol level will be exactly what it needs to be if you let your body work. If you start interfering, then you don't know what it's going to be,
Wow. And then these doctors will scare their patients. If they say they want to get off, then you really got to take your health in your own hands, which is what we should all be doing in the first place.
Now, here's the problem with high blood pressure medication. Your body sends the signal to raise blood pressure. You block it. Your body goes, I sent a signal to raise blood pressure, so it sends a bigger signal. You block it. It sends a bigger signal. You block it. Pretty soon you're sending such a large signal that the body would have never made without that drug, that if you withdraw the drug, you blow out the system. That's the danger of going off of high blood pressure medications.
Is it a similar danger with the cholesterol medication as well?
No, the cholesterol medication, just stop doing it.
Really?
Your body needs cholesterol, just stop blocking it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a stupid drug. But anyway, so here we go. We've got this high blood pressure, which isn't a good thing because also now, besides other symptoms and things, you're tearing the walls of your arterial system, and so now you're getting holes in your arterial system and you're getting clots. Mm-hmm. But you see, that's how the body repairs the problem. You get a hole in your vascular system, the body forms a clot to patch it up so you don't bleed internally. So you know what the number one drug is that'll end you up in the hospital and you'll probably die from?
No.
Coumadin.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, and see, they give that so you won't clot. And it's like, don't clot? You mean you don't want us to bandage ourselves? So the question they should be asking is, how come so many holes are in the vascular system? Right. Why is your vascular system not being able to handle the blood pressure? Okay? It's because it's a weak system. And as far as I'm concerned, I relate cardiovascular disease to scurvy. Because what happens with scurvy? You start bleeding internally. And then the later things, you bleed in the mouth, you bleed in the nose, and then you die. Well, this is what's happening. They're bleeding internally because their vascular system's weak. Because guess what? 72% of Americans don't get any vitamin C rich foods on a daily basis. We don't make vitamin C. Other animals do, but we don't. We have to have it on a daily basis. And 72% of Americans don't get any vitamin C rich foods on a daily basis. In fact, 50% of Americans don't get any fruit on a daily basis. And that includes Smucker's jams and fruit pies.
No way. That's crazy. Wow.
That's why we've got a cardiovascular disease. It's because we're all eating fast foods that doesn't have any vitamin C in it.
Wow. Do you think there's more of an issue as far as what foods might contribute to a closed artery? Do you think it's like a sugar thing or a meat thing, or what are your thoughts about what might be causing some of these arteries to block off like that?
Well, again, your body forms a clot because it's got weak tissue and it tears, and so it forms a clot and patches that up. That clot is rough. The vascular system's smooth, and then you get to this rough clot, and then things like damaged cholesterol and triglycerides and other garbage in the system collects onto those clots, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that kind of impinges the flow through the arterial system, and then as the blood's going through it, and like break that off, and then that can cause a stroke. The thing is it's not that they have clots, it's that they have holes, and you got to patch up the holes.
Yeah.
You know, then you got to eat the foods that aren't going to contribute to building up those clots, because the blood doesn't just clot; it clots for a purpose. It clots to patch up a hole.
Okay. Well, are there tests that people can take or go get, have done that will measure how clogged their arteries are?
Oh, absolutely. They put a dye in your system, and then they can look at it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can find out. Okay, I've got this much blockage, and then you can have something you can really work with.
But what I'm saying is why even wait for that? People just need to grow up and eat like an adult should. So Americans are just eating the wrong foods. What we need to get back to is a fresh produce diet. If people just start eating fresh produce and get away from all the other things they're eating now and eat nothing but fresh produce, there would be no cardiovascular disease.
And what do you make of the role of stress on cardiovascular disease? Probably pretty high.
Well, that definitely amplifies the problem.
Sorry, David, we have to cut out. I apologize for that. Thank you to Mike Adams of naturalnewsradio.com for having us on his network. So you were saying that stress is maybe not the cause, but a high causative factor?
It can worsen the situation.
Wow, and if you think about just the average American person going to work and stressed, and then going to McDonald's on a drive-through, and wow, you can really see what's going on.
That's right.
Wow. So if someone's listening, I would imagine a lot of people are on these cholesterol-lowering medications. So you recommend people to get off of them, or can you say that, or how does that work?
Well, no. Well, the thing about cholesterol medications is it's not doing anything. All it's doing is stopping your body from making cholesterol. You need cholesterol. What you need to do is get rid of the damaged cholesterol that's in there, and so you do that by eating the right foods, and that'll all come out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going back, it's really fascinates me. Why don't people know? Do they not know what foods to eat, or are they just addicted? It's interesting that we're not taught any of this in school, really, how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we've got the problem we have today. Are we still on the air? We
are, yes.
Oh, okay. Before we leave, can I just tell people about the school?
Oh, please.
So the school since 1953, and basically we've really updated it, and we've got everything online, and so that reduced our costs. So our beginning course, our first level course, was $495. By putting it online, that reduced our cost of printing and stuff, and so it's $295. But during this holiday season, it's $100.
Oh my gosh!
So you get a taste of what our school's about by getting the first level. And the first level is really almost a standalone course. If you take that first level, you know more than any medical doctor does on how to take care of your body. Wow, and that's a level 1 course. And what does that consist of in terms of what you will be reading and the workbooks and all of that? There's going to be 3 books, workbooks, 2 videos, CDs. That's in the physical course, but that's all online. Okay, so people can just watch these videos on their computer? Yes.
Wow. And so how many hours?
They just go to schoolofnaturalhealing.com and they can sign up for that. What the special is if you take the first level, then you can take all the other levels for even cheaper, and you save a couple of $1,000s on the course. If you want to take just the first level, then the best thing to do is to call the school, and they'll be able to help you sign up for just the first level.
Wow. So you teach people how to grow herbs and how to work with herbs and formulate things and all of that.
Exactly. The school's phone number is 1-800-372-8255. It's 1-800-372-8255 for getting just the first level. But if you want to just get into the school and do the Master Herbalist program and get a couple $1,000 discount, then just go on to School of Natural Healing and sign up right there.
Wow, that's great. So you're kind of moving into the digital format so that you can lower your costs and all of that. That's great.
Exactly, yes.
Wow, so if someone were to do the first level course, how long would that take, and how many hours a day do you think they would be working on it?
We give them 3 months, but you usually should be able to finish in about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow, 3 weeks. And how many hours a day do you think that would be?
That would just be a couple hours a day.
Wow, that's great. And so if someone wanted to just kind of take the course and go through it and learn how to maybe make their family healthier and to do these types of things, that would be a great course for them. And then you have the advanced course, the full course. Yes,
as far as the Master Herbalist course is concerned, we like to look at it this way. The old adage, you give a person a fish, you feed them for a day, you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. We teach people how to take care of themselves, and they can take care of themselves and other people, and even get paid for it. But we train teachers, not practitioners. So our people are going out and teaching people how to take care of themselves, how to fish, really.
Wow, that is so great. You know, it seems like a lost art, making tinctures and pastes and herbal teas and infusions and all these different things and working with herbs. It's almost a lost art in our culture, isn't it?
Yeah, and we teach you how to do that, to be self-sufficient. So you can take one of our Master Herbalists that have graduated and drop them any place in the United States, and that they have a disease is a situation they have to take care of. They can find it in their local area. Just go out and get on the side of the road and find an herbs.
Well, one day we just may be able to put the FDA out of business. What do you think?
I think if everybody got healthy, we sure wouldn't have these drug companies that are making billions and billions of dollars off of our illness.
Isn't it interesting that was it the 90s where they started making all the commercials? Before then, I never saw any commercials for drug companies.
Yeah, you got it from your doctor. Yeah, now people go to their doctor and go, I want this drug because I saw it on TV.
Oh, my God. Oh, wow. And then I love the ends of those commercials. They're just make me laugh, how all the side effects. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
on Dave Letterman, I saw one that was they had a little commercial where the guy's kind of playing basketball, and he's talking about this drug, and then it's like it'll cause this and this and death and this and death and this kind of death, and it's like
Oh man, yeah. With herbs, I don't believe there's really anyone that has died. Has there been many cases of death from herbs?
The one that they distribute is ephedra. But it wasn't ephedra at all. It was ephedrine and caffeine together as a combination, which is 100 times more stimulating than ephedra. So it was a drug, and so a drug caused the problems, and then they took the herbs off the market, and you can still get the drug, like in Sudafed and stuff. That was a ridiculous law that the FDA was able to get ephedra off the market. Ephedra is the best thing for bronchial problems. The bronchials. In fact, I think ephedra is the only herb and the only substance other than epinephrine that'll stop anaphylactic shock.
Oh, really?
And they took it off the market.
Oh, my gosh. Do you think they're going to be continuing to do that with, I know chaparral was a herb that they did that with, I think. Do you think they're going to continue to do that?
They have things that are on their no-no list, but the only one that's illegal is the ephedra. All the other ones are just on their no-no list, and that's just, your opinion against the FDA's. But the ephedra is the one they actually took off the market, and what a great herb. That's been used since the caveman. They have proof that it was used by the caveman.
Wow, isn't that fascinating? Are there any books that you recommend that people could read that they can learn more about this?
We have two fantastic books in the School of Natural Healing. One's called the School of Natural Healing. It's about 700 pages. And the other one is School of Natural Healing's Herb Syllabus, which is about the same size. And those two books are about $180 together, but I think during the Christmas season they're selling them for $100 for both of them. So if they just go on to ChristopherWebsites.com, then that'll get them to all of our websites, including the Christopher publications.
Oh, wow, that's great. Well, thank you, David, for being on the show today. There's a lot of great information here for people.
It was a lot of fun.
Would you mind holding as I close out the show?
I will, sure.
Okay, thank you. Wow, thank you everybody for joining us. That was such a great interview with David Christopher. What a great guy. Visit his website, snh.cc, for more information and learn all about his School of Natural Healing. And for $100, you can get his course. I would highly recommend it. Thank you again for joining us during this Christmas season. I hope everything is going well in your life. And thank you to Mike Adams of naturalnewsradio.com for having us on his network. And don't forget to join our mailing list as well. You could find that on our website, and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We have a store as well with lots of great products like blenders and dehydrators and rebounders and exercise equipment, and then a bunch of e-courses that I think you would like. So thank you for visiting our store. That's how we remain sustainable. And if you would like to donate, please feel free. You can donate as little as $1, and every little bit would help for us to keep this website free so we don't have to charge anybody. And thank you for those who have donated. I can't tell you how thankful we are. Thank you so much for that. You can find out more on our website on extremehealthradio.com. So thank you again for listening. Pass this